Dude, there's something about a chess player in a wheelchair where I almost assume it's like a blind person's hearing, where I'm like, this guy, his mind must be working on a whole new level without legs. Do you like if Stephen Hawking was like sitting in restaurants eating sandwiches, like having hobbies, I wouldn't have thought he was that smart. It was part of the half robot thing that made me think like this guy's like kind of a genius.
You know, that happened later in life. Like he was like a genius adult who knew he was going to be in that chair soon.
Yeah, he had
he
whatever
was
that
wrong about
MS.
everything. People just acted like he was smart because he spoke like a robot.
Was he?
Nobody's read his book.
I'm not going to co-sign that.
I bet his book sucks. You know what, Woody? You're right. He sucks.
Did you know they buried him?
Constantly wrong. He lost every bet.
Yeah, he's like Einstein, that fraud.
You know, they buried him with his keypad and they left it wired to a monitor up top.
Why? In case they buried him. Help me. I am only still mostly dead.
Can we hack it like those road signs that they leave lying around?
Just make it say penis.
Penis, vagina, penis, vagina, penis, vagina.
When I was growing up, I couldn't tell if he was really smart or retarded. He was like this man bear pig of like
the chasm of man. Yeah.
of a cripple and a genius that just didn't make sense. I couldn't wrap
it didn't make sense to you. Like I always remember thinking like this guy knows about space and science, and he was about space, right?
Physics.
Yeah,
right?
his big thing was like black holes and Hawking radiation and the brief history of the universe. He was like a precursor to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It's math in the end, though. It's
yeah.
Well, have we confirmed anything about his black hole theories?
It's false.
Or they're just wrong, just made up.
I think if he's right, there should be a bunch of exploding black holes everywhere, but there's not. Like I don't think his version is right, but I don't fucking know. I'm not in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I need a smart person here to co-sign that stuff. I spend an awful lot of time listening to smart people talk on YouTube though, and nodding along like I'm like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, of course, dark energy. What else could it be?
Yeah, like that confuses me too. Where they'll be like, but none of our equations equaled out in the end. Until we added a panacea called dark matter. it's like, wait, so you created something that answers all the questions you couldn't answer?
Well, they just filled in.
What is it? We don't know because we just made it up.
It's dark matter, and everything's made of it except for what you can see, touch, and measure. Like, I have no idea how it works, but I want to be smugly wrong about it.
I enjoy those a lot. That and the ancient civilization YouTubers, the ones who think that the Earth was we had ancient civilizations that were advanced. Like one of the
cool. What about the Atlantis one where it's like the Ring City? Have you seen that one?
Oh, that sounds cool. No, I haven't seen Ring City.
You don't like
what
that one?
Here's why I like the Younger Dryas thing and with the Sphinx in particular. So they looked at where when the sun lines up with the constellation of Leo. Was 11,600 years ago, which is when they think the Sphinx was built, like the crackpot scientists think anyway. So they think it was built by a civilization before the Egyptians, and they're like, why would they build a lion? Like during the Egyptian times, it was the bull. It was Taurus was the one lined up with the path of the sun. But if you go back to when they think that comet struck and caused the Younger Dryas disaster and all that shit, it was Leo. So I thought that was a little interesting tidbit. I don't know. I like that stuff a lot. I spend a lot of time every morning. I come in here and I drink my coffee and I spend an hour at least watching YouTube shorts.
What's the most convincing one of those stories about either the Ring, the Atlantis thing, or Göbekli Tepe or whatever that's called that's actually sucked you in and you've been like, I buy this?
There are some tool marks on the place where they mined the granite for the pyramids, or it's a good distance away, like 100 miles or something away. But there are these tool marks that are kind of weird. It's just like, how do they do that? How were they cutting that out like that? It looks like they've been machined. So that one always sticks out to me more than the crackpot shit. Like, as much as I like Randall Carlson, I've heard him be like, but their technology could have been something completely different than ours. They speak of the priests chanting. So I think maybe an acoustic energy was used to levitate these blocks. And it's like, no, dude.
Yes.
There's a reason why like every group of people came up with bow and arrows dependently. It's that tech makes sense. Like you know what I mean? You're not going to just branch off into magic acoustics instead of electricity or steam power or some shit. So that part's nonsensical to me. And anything ancient aliens is bullshit.
What about Atlantis? Is the story that it's like it's a city that used to be not underwater, now it's all
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, where a guy like using satellite, Google satellites, he found this area. Yeah, is that the one? You used a name that I hadn't heard of. Is that the guy?
Topography. Yeah.
No, the topography I'd heard of, the guy who found like the ring area of Atlantis. I don't know, it was a cool video.
Dr. Indiana Jones.
That's low-key insult dick all night long.
Yeah, so according to the old tales or whatever, like it was a ringed city. So you had these rings of land and then water, repeating for like, I don't know, 3 rings of land or whatever. And I think they found a formation that's like that under the water somewhere. But like, you're going to have to go down there and find some like, I don't know, some marble statues.
Yeah,
or
something neat.
Yeah, I need.
But
to
it's
see
totally
some whoozy
believable
butts
that there's like a city that is now underwater that used to not be.
They
It was
find
in
cities
northern
all the time.
Africa. It's on above. I don't know why I'm getting into.
No, it's in the Mediterranean or something.
Yeah, near the Mediterranean. That's where it should be, or some. I've heard people say in the Atlantic as well. Yeah, that's the idea. I don't know what that is on the left though. That seems like. I guess
that's the Sarlacc pit.
Yes, it is. Oh my God! Can you believe Boba Fett made it out of there? What horse shit! What horse
That
shit!
is-
By the way, I'll tell you what. I'm not sure if I can beat up Amanda Nunez. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I know for goddamn sure I can beat up Boba Fett. I could beat the dog shit out of Boba Fett. The actor who plays him, put him in his armor. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, isn't that
old
Pedro
Give him a
Pascal?
blaster.
Don't give him a blaster. I don't know about that, but I'm so disappointed by that show. Mandalorian just kicked off season 3, episode 1. And it's just like, I was hoping for a new story, right? Because they've kind of settled the Grogu shit. That chapter's over. We got Grogu to the Jedi. He decided he didn't want to be a Jedi. He wanted to be a Mandalorian. So now he's with Mando, and they're a pair. That
So
happened.
Grogu is Baby Yoda?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
Yoda is going to be a Mandalorian?
he was given a choice between a lightsaber and like a mithril shirt for that, like that Mandalorian medal. And Luke's like, you've got to choose. And he fought. Next scene, you see him fucking hitting up with his like shiny ass shirt and like taking off. And
This is like when Ellie
Kinda got
chose
groomed,
Joel
though.
over Joel's brother in last.
yeah, it was an
Like,
easy decision.
Does this guy only play one character with one plot?
I just wish they played like some. I wish they showed him like putting the shirt on in like slow motion. It was like diamonds on my neck, diamonds on my neck. They made it real gangster as he's getting suited up to go like back with Mando.
So upset in Game of Thrones when they killed his sister or whatever. Like, because apparently this guy's whole thing is he escorts a child somewhere. And fucked up in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he did.
I like him a lot as an actor. But yeah, I'm not impressed by the storyline. It's already started off, and one thing it's like painfully obvious because of his new spaceship. His spaceship got blown up in last season, so now he's got more of a fighter jet type thing. And there's just a pod behind him that's like Jim Henson made for that puppet to come up in and look around out of. It's like a little dome, like at McDonald's back in the day. Those things, there'd always be a kid and they're all dehydrated because
you could never see all the way out of though. You're like, oh god damn it! If I could just stick my fucking head out this thing, Taylor. You probably couldn't even fit your head in that thing, could you?
Probably not.
That sucks, man.
Taylor was trying to drive the playground up there on that wheel.
God damn it!
That was always my role. I couldn't be the lookout.
Oh, it got the Taylor.
I had always, always the
guys, let's
driver,
put
never the
Taylor on
lookout.
You guys are watching Last of Us too. Are you sick of the liberal love stories? Like they had gay men and then lesbians, and then they had a pedophile love story on the last one.
I didn't mind the gay Ron Swanson one. I liked that one, but then
we liked
the
that
one with
a
the
lot.
little girls, like little lesbian show, that had that. It actively did nothing to move the story forward. It's every second of it. I said it last episode. I watched the last half of it.
No, don't want to see it.
Did I watch the last half of it
at least make
indignantly?
one of them
like,
live.
what the fuck? Is something going to happen? Is something
Hard
going to progress?
disagree. All of you are week.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't say that.
Was that a deep fake?
All right, gonna go ahead and write down this timestamp
No, I'm
because
just kidding. But
You mentioned that there was this kid that used to work for me. He was that kid that was a fucking thief. I think I mentioned that like money would disappear out of. I keep cash above the visor in my vehicle to like pay people with, and so there'd be like $200 in there. And like, you know, I get denominations so you can pay people properly. Money would go missing and shit. My dad said the other day that guy was somewhere, and the cop showed up and swarmed him, grabbed his laptop. He was like somewhere on a child porn website, and it was some sort of a setup, and they tracked him to his laptop and scooped his laptop up. And I was like, and then what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing. I'm like, oh, well, they're just figuring out how many things to charge him with then. Like he's in so much fucking trouble.
is
And
this?
good, but he's somebody that Jeremy, the guy with the rotten teeth,
oh,
knows. Like if Jeremy couldn't work, I would have these little shitheads like cut grass for me and stuff, pick up garbage. When I would blow up a ton of shit, it would be a huge mess of like jagged metal. And I'd need somebody to go do that because I ain't doing that shit.
You
And,
sent a pedophile in there? Get in there, you goddamn
He's a child himself.
He's a child himself.
He was a child himself.
An inside man.
When I was paying him, he was 14.
Molesting himself every day.
Yeah, he was like 14 or 15.
This is
when I
going to
was
be
paying
over
him.
soon. I'd fuck me.
there probably aren't, but should there be Romeo and Juliet? I think they're called Romeo and Juliet laws, right? Like in the same way
Some
that like
people
a
call them that.
15-year-old can have sex with a 15-year-old in many states,
Mhm.
but that same person couldn't and shouldn't be having sex.
If you're
with a
heading toward
20-year-old.
this counting for child pornography, no, it doesn't. If a 12-year-old sends a picture of his hoo-ha to another 12-year-old, he has distributed child pornography, and he can be prosecuted to whatever degree the local DA wants to.
Amazing.
That's just ridiculous.
It does seem
It-
wrong. There should be
It's
Romeo and
ridiculous
Juliet
Sometimes
laws.
until you
15-year-olds
consider the
have,
way
like,
that drug
sex
dealers, for example, will
someone
use
else.
children to
Fucking
move
get
drugs
illegal.
around because they can't be charged in a certain way. It's closing a loophole. And when Tommy and Susie trade hoo-ha pictures, they almost never get charged to the full extent of the law. However, if some piece of shit is making his child send that to other people, and they're using their children as the distribution method, you need to close that
yeah.
loophole. That's a lot of times when
Okay,
a law
that
seems
makes a lot
weird
of
to
sense.
you, you've got to imagine it from like every angle because
Yeah.
it's rare that lawmakers make stupid laws. Now there are some old laws that are crazy. Those are the ones
Yeah,
that are in
yeah.
like almanacs and stuff. Like, wait, I can't eat rutabagas on Saturdays.
In Boston, I can't go over 10 miles an hour without someone running in front of me with a red lantern.
Yeah.
So that's
no,
the
that
deal
makes
with
perfect sense. The tax code has a lot of that stuff too, where
Yeah.
why is the tax so complicated? It should just be this. Oh, fuck you, because you make it that suddenly. I want all my income in fucking dividends or something, so it gets taxed at a low rate.
Yeah.
So wait,
I got-
if you're 10, could you like just take all your clothes off and then go to Toys R Us and steal everything, and they can't prove it with video because that's child porn?
Yes.
Oh, the authorities can look at whatever they want. So,
Yeah,
That's true,
you can do
yeah.
that. You can do that as an adult if you're quick.
Nah, Taylor, it doesn't work.